We return for episode 8 of the Are You Gaming Placement Round Robin Torment. Words happen order in this. So there was a request at the tail end of the last video to update on the current standings. Presently we stand with IC and UE tied for first place with 2 points each. That is 2 victories, 0 losses. And we have a three-way tie for third between Dash, Nota, and Mr. Zach, each with 1 point among themselves. And we have Croc in dead last place. I see, did I not fix game audio? I'm pretty sure I fixed game audio before. Okay. So, let us begin here with game number...
IRC wants you to make sure that game audio is on.
I am cognizant. I've watched that. And I hear game audio, so they're going to hear game audio. Sort of. That is kind of the way this works. We shall begin. We have here, in our 8th game, UEAdmiral versus Nota on Daybreak. This is a map that often makes me nervous because of all the different angles of approach, 3 different land crossings in the middle, and some wide open areas for air units to cross on the top and bottom. There's also plenty of space in each corner to hide air units, or to keep air units out of immediate harm after harassing a mineral line. So this is actually a very open map and kind of difficult to defend, but it's also really good for forcing people to move out and around. The third and, well, your options for your third base are actually quite far from your natural. And that kind of opens the way to being split or cut off from your reinforcements or what have you. So we have Nota with an early double gas opening, getting a second gateway, so he's probably not going to be going air. At the very least, he wants to obscure the fact that he's going air, if he is doing that. I am apparently following suit with a 2 racks double gas opening. At the moment, I don't necessarily agree with getting gas this early. I think this is far too early for my needs. But we'll see what I do with it. Thank you, Mr. Zach. Production tab enabled and Zulu. So here I am waiting to drop the depot because God knows if there's a probe on the way, I don't want that in my base. Looks like I've already done a scouting run and I stashed my worker over here out of sight so I can poke around and get eyes at what he's building. Complete. I now verify a second gateway. I may have already identified the cyber core. If I didn't, I do now. So I still don't see these gateways working. At least, I have not seen that in the game. So I don't really feel super secure yet that he's going for a ground army instead of an air army. My bets continue to be hedged, but there's really only one advancement for a Terran, and that's to follow up the barracks with a factory. I could have saved that and gone into an expansion, however, the early gas really suggests this was my plan all along, for whatever reason. Because I got those gases before I even scouted him. Nota's storing a probe up here for an additional scout. Looks like he hasn't actually even tried to take a look and see if I've expanded yet. Picking up a robotics facility in the back of his base. Subsequent scout for me moving out now. I don't know why I feel the need to have 2 scouts on the field, but that's the case. Maybe I'm looking for proxies. That could be the case. Nota moving out with pair of adepts. They could actually cause some trouble at my ramp because adepts do so much damage to light units. They could just poke up here, snipe a marine, walk away, and recharge their shields. Nota coming down with a Twilight Council. Robo Bay finishing. Is he going to put something in that? What's he going to start in there? Warp Gate finishing for Nota. The scout coming in to see additional gateways going down. Twilight Council affirming my belief that he's going to go for a ground army. And we have an overseer? Observer. You know, an observer and immortal in the pipe for the Robo Bay. And there goes my scout. So I'm going to respond to this by switching over to the reactor starport. Looks like I may have been trying to go for a drop. This is definitely indicative of my drop build. But I opt for Liberators instead. Apparently I'm trying to take advantage of the fact that Nota still has only one base, and from what I've scouted, no static defenses. However, I am forgetting or vastly underestimating the strength of the planetary pylon, courtesy of the Mothership Core. Templar Archive coming down. That's going to enable him to start building Templar. What gates morphed? 4-gate Robo on one base. So here I move out with a small infantry push, trying to take advantage of Nota's relatively small army at this juncture. However, I am forgetting that Terran Bio is not all that effective without Stim. So I'm just waiting here until I have... I don't know. I don't see any other reinforcements on the... Oh! I see what's going on. I'm going for a two-pronged attack. Siege the Liberators in the mineral line while I push the front. Make him choose which one he wants to engage with. Unfortunately, it's a false choice, because the planetary pylons are just going to obliterate my Liberators. And then my infantry really isn't going to get anything done with this army over here. So this is a very expensive attack for me. I gain next to nothing for it. Switch over to the units lost tab. You can see this is the myth of the persistently hyper-efficient armies. From this, I would not be surprised if Nota went right ahead and took his expansion. Yep, there it is. There it is. Realizes I've just lost my potential to hurt him or harass him, making this a pretty reasonable time for him to move out and at the same time try to advance his economy. But I'm not completely unprepared here at base. I have been macroing while I was away. So I've got some infantry and a couple of tanks to deal with the stalkers when they show up. Does Nota have blink yet? Nota does not have blink, so they won't be able to press this ramp and actually do some serious damage. He will deny this expansion. And I'm getting some bunkers up here to hopefully further secure my front. Meanwhile, back in Nota's base, he's pumping out more observers, getting forges for double upgrades. And, this looks like it's active, but I must be mistaking that for the other animation. Nota getting up some proxy pylons here, going for a long-term contain. Has he poked up and seen anything yet? No, he hasn't exposed himself to my tanks just yet.
Production tab?
Good point, thank you. Another set of Liberators going out to attempt to harass this mineral line. But that is probably going to go exactly the same way that it went last time, seeing as Nota's Mothership Core is not out here on the field. There's the scout for Nota, eating a bunch of tank shots with the Immortal Barrier ability, which was a very good move, I might add. Looks like Nota's streaming in more reinforcements from his base. Proxy pylons now in effect, ready to warp in reinforcements directly to location instead of having to walk across the map. Scout observer on the right of my base, probably having scouted the Liberators, which aren't here anymore. I probably missed the attack that resulted in their loss. You can see I've certainly lost a heck of a lot more since the last engagement. I press out here with a Banshee and some infantry, and I just get slaughtered. He tries to capitalize on that, but he's just running into 4 tanks, and he's going to get slaughtered himself. There's a little bit of a back and forth here. Gate does go down, but I think I replaced that quite promptly. That last thing I want is for him to warp in a bunch of adepts, which shade their way past the tanks. Notice expansion starting to work, but not especially well saturated just yet. Some defensive stalkers remain over here. Double upgrades finishing for Nota. I assume double upgrades. One of them probably already took effect. Confirm? Yes. Observer on the high ground to spot what's going on over here. A nice storm on the tank, but that's not going to be enough to knock it out, and I can just repair that. Given my total lack of detection over here, setting aside scans, which, oh my goodness, my macro. Oh my goodness, look at all this energy. Look at all this energy. Granted, I don't have a ton of minerals to make use of that, but that's a shame. Notice contain does seem to be faltering here, although I don't really have the units I need to walk out there and break it. Meanwhile, Nota is... Oh, I remember what happened here. I sent out a Banshee to try to harass, thinking, okay, Cloak will protect me from the planetary pylon, except Nota's got an observer right here. And now getting some cannons at his other expansion, which is now quite reasonably saturated. Gate goes down for me, a scout SCV trying to poke around, see what he can see. It looks like Nota's going to intercept this before he can escape. Gets out just by a hair. Contain starts to build right back up. Finally, the mules go down to very quickly mine out the last of the 250 minerals. Oh dear. So I'm completely mined out. I have a second orbital, but I have nowhere safe to put it. Looks like I'm going to rely entirely on my tanks for my defense and move out with an infantry drop just to try to break his attention on his contain so I can move out and actually obtain an expansion. Spot some stalkers. Almost takes out one of these medevacs. And what a Void Ray would do to my front right now. No anti-air whatsoever. No
your mic has just gone crazy, man.
There's nothing I can do about it. Nothing's changed over here. I'm just gonna have to pass through it over here. Nota presses the attack, knowing that I'm dropping him, but he's just not making the push he needs to do. His tanks go completely unscathed, and the bunkers hold with what little infantry is in them. Meanwhile, my infantry drop is just wrecking through his main mineral line, targeting down his robotics facility, completely ignorant of this immortal, which I just avoid. Now I come down here to shut down this mining location, finally noticing the immortal. So Nota's income will come to a complete halt here, and Nota is not calling off his contained forces to deal with this attack. Not that they would really have arrived in time to do much. And Nota calls the GG. Could not break the front. Could not make the defense. I come out of this by the skin of my teeth. That has been, I believe, game 8 in the Are You Gaming? There's a word that comes before that. Are you gaming? Are you gaming? Round robin, there they are. Are You Gaming Round Robin Placement Torment. I think that's the last one for today. We'll pick up with 9, perhaps tomorrow, maybe the next day, but not tonight. Hail and good hunting. The standings actually should stand here now with UE in first place with 3 points, IC in second with 2, and a 3-way tie, Dash Nota, Mr. Zach, 1 point each for third. Croc continues to be in dead last because he didn't play here and had no opportunity to improve his standing. That's going to be it for tonight, folks.